Hey Fox traders, Israel coming here from vintageeducation.com and welcome to issue 102 of VE University. And on today's particular training, just to get in, before I get into that, we're going to be basically switching between you looking at me and obviously I've got my laptop screen here for you to see as well. So we're going to be literally chopping and changing for the best experience for you. So today's training, what I'm going to be going through is what I'm entitling the pathway to profits. Now what you can see on screen here is here's the artwork, what we're going to be talking about, and literally what we're going to be talking about is a 45-day window, 45-day transformation for one of my recent Forex students. Now it's really interesting what we're going to talk about today, but I need you to understand this isn't even the quickest sort of transformational kind of story this year. Okay, I'm just going to particularly single out one particular student for your personal use, because I know this can actually benefit you immensely. Okay, now I want you to understand as well, okay, people always get caught up in, well, how beneficial is this to me? Am I going to be able to go from here to making 100,000 a month or 10,000, what, like silly stuff, in 45 days? Now that's possible, but that's going to depend on different variables. And obviously everyone's in a different position. My whole mindset and my whole philosophy as a teacher is to put you on a journey, okay, and actually be helping you get closer and closer to that specific end goal. Okay. For some of you, that might be just getting into Forex, and seeing and starting to believe that it can work for you. Okay. That might be phase one. Phase two might be now you're trading on a live account with minimal account. Phase three might be now you're on a live account with real money, real size account, and you can actually make money consistently every single month. Okay. Everyone, that comes through my basically classroom, if you want to put it like that, my community, my family, as I like to call it, they're all in different positions, and you're obviously in a different position as well. So I'm not just going to say to you right now, look, you're going to go from complete novice, if that's who you are, to making thousands in 30 days, in 25 days. Okay, because I don't know specifically your specific situation. If you've got thousands to trade with right now, if you're confident in all of that kind of stuff, you know how to trade, then fair enough, maybe. But if you don't, if you're just new, if you don't want to invest a lot of money, well, then you have to think about how realistic this is going to be. All right. So as we continue, this is all centered around one of my students called Kevin Finnan. Now, this is really interesting, his story, because he actually invested in my education a little while ago. Okay. Now, the difference between Kevin and what I want you to do is, Kevin's literally sat on his hands for a little while. Okay. What I mean by that is he decided to buy one of my training programs, but he decided not to do anything with it. Okay. The only one thing he did, which I think was vital, was he joined my private Forex community. Now, in my private Forex community, I'm in there. Some of my other students are in there as well. Some trading with big accounts, some trading with medium-sized accounts, some trading with small accounts, some on demo accounts, okay, and some just completely new. Okay, so we've got a wide range of different levels of my students in there, and obviously I'm in there as well, and you can engage with me as well. So that was really important. So he was in there, and what actually started to happen to him, which was really great, was he was observing. Okay, so every week he might not be making any posts, not asking any questions, but he has the desire, obviously, because he's invested $1,000 plus in one of my program materials, and he's just literally watching. Okay, we call those kind of people lurkers. Okay, just looking at what's going on but not actually doing anything. So he started looking at some of my other students, and they started posting results. Now the thing I think really hit him was he started to realize that beginners were coming in and getting results. Okay, my whole philosophy for my students is you're just one trade away, as you should probably be able to see on the t-shirt I'm wearing. Okay, and that whole premise is it only takes one trade to change things. Okay, and I think that's what happened with Kevin. Okay, he started to see all these different traders coming in, new traders getting results, and he started to realize, oh, hold on, these came in after me and they're getting the results I want. Okay, so what happened next after that is he just got motivated. Okay, and what we're going to see next, what we're covering today, is over a window of 45 days where he started trading to where he's put down his significant landmark, which probably, if he continues to be serious and dedicated, will help him out immensely going forward. Okay. Now, as we go through these particular examples and we break down what he's talking about and the things he's sharing in our private community, I'm going to interweave personal stories of my own, because I know that will really help you on your journey, okay, to Forex success. Okay. So right now, if you're a beginner looking to get into Forex, this will be beneficial for you. Okay. If you're a bit intermediary, okay, this will be beneficial for you. And even if you're a bit more advanced, this will still help you, because you'll get different nuggets from what I'm going to be sharing and just little bits from his story, which will help you out immensely. Okay. So literally picking up now from the moment he's realized, you know what, I need to start taking this serious and I'm going to start doing this myself instead of just watching all of his students get the results. All right. So as you can see now, you should be able to see on screen, this is the first thing I want to talk about. So you can see here, and let's just literally just run through the post here. Okay, so this is a post he shared in our community. Now bear in mind, this is all over a 45-day window. Okay, so let's read. So he says, he shares this post, and this is a trade he took on the Australian dollar against the USD, and it was a buy position. Okay, so look what he says. He says, "Hi all. As you all know, I am very new to this, but had my first 2 successful trades this week." So first and foremost, whether you're new, it doesn't matter. Okay. If you link up with someone like me, someone who can show you how to take these kind of trades, you can get trades relatively quickly. Let's continue. Let's keep going. So look what he says. He says, the second trade was taken this morning before leaving for work. So number 2, okay. If you're watching this, if you've got skepticism about, can trading work for me while I'm working? Well, you can see student here just started taking action. Is showing you how he's taking trades even in and around work. That's why, because the way I teach my students to trade is to trade 1 or 2 hours a day. Okay. You can trade before work. You can trade on your lunch break. You can trade after work. Some people even trade during work. Okay. I'm not going to be telling you to do that, but I'm just telling you letting you know what's possible. So let's keep going. He says he entered at 78.82. Now, you might not understand all of this, but just try and go along. Okay, so you put a stop loss on, which is really important, 10 pips, and a take profit on, okay, 48 pips. So he was risking 10 pips, okay, on a particular trade to make 50 pips, okay. So what we call that, for those of you who don't know, you're watching this, we call that 5-to-1 risk to reward. That means I'm set to make 5 times the amount of what I'm actually investing on this particular trade. So for example, if he was risking $100, he'd potentially have made $500 on this trade. Okay. So let's keep going. So look what he says. He says risking 2% and possible reward of 9.6%. Okay. So just literally 5 times what he's risking. Now it goes into the reasons why he's entering the trade, and I don't want to get into that because I don't want to get too technical for those of you watching this who don't literally understand all this stuff. Okay. If you need more help understanding this technical stuff and learning the way I trade and all this kind of stuff, we'll talk about that later. Okay, just that's not the point here. Okay, so he goes on to say, this is the trade he took. This was a 9.6% profit return, and it was his best yet. Okay, now I need you to understand that this, like I said, this is over a 45-day span, and this is the first trade he shared with us, literally talking about he had his first 2 winning trades. Okay, now this is really significant because you might be thinking to yourself, where am I now? Like, I need my first winning trade. I need to get a trade with a 10% return, all this kind of stuff, because you're starting to understand, hold on, if I have $1,000 in my trading account, I could have just made $100. If I had $10,000 in my trading account, I could have just made $1,000. Okay, and you're probably starting to realize now, this is how it becomes possible to make returns that can make me trade from home instead of going out working 9 to 5 and just going through that cycle of bed to work, bed to work, bed to work. Okay, you need to get out of that. So it's really interesting when you think about what's actually happening here, because these are his first winning trades. Now, I remember my first winning trade, and this was me literally not knowing what to do, gambling pretty much. If I memory serves me correctly, I think my first winning trade, just pretty much people would say it's pure luck. It was about a 5% return. Okay. Now I didn't know what I was doing, but you can see now, years later, okay, nearly 10 years later, now I can show people once they take action, they can get these kind of results, and it can happen relatively quickly. Okay, it's first winning trade, 10% return. He's trading even while working a job, and that's what you need to understand. It's possible for you. Okay, so this was the first thing, and you can see down here on screen, you can see there's a few likes on a post, and obviously one of my other students is congratulating him for what he's been able to achieve, and that's really what it's about. It's about action. Okay, it's about being around forex traders that are profitable, being around forex traders that know what they're doing, and most importantly, being around forex traders that are excelling, are moving towards their end forex goals. It's just that simple. You don't want to be around people that are negative, people that are just flooding your minds with negativity and skepticism. Oh, does forex really work? Oh, it's never worked for them, all that kind of stuff. Get around people that are actually making returns, and this is what you can do right away. So let's go into the next thing, okay, which I think is really important. Okay, so this is the next post he shared in our private forex community. Okay, and when you join our private forex community, if you join one of our programs, you'll be able to see Kevin in there, or you see other students as well. Okay, so look what he says here, as we see on screen. So he says, look, after a run of a few losing trades so far this week on the demo account, I entered a short trade. So he entered a sell position, as he shared today below. Okay, he talks about his entry and his stop loss, all this kind of stuff, and he says, look, okay, he had a 10 pip stop for a 41 pip target. Okay, so that's, as I said before, 4-to-1 risk to reward. So for example, if he was risking $100 on this trade, you would make $400 in return. Okay, now look what he says. He just goes into percentage, 2% for 8.2%. It's just basically saying what I'm saying in percentage terms. Okay, and there's loads of comments below, and I'll get into that in a minute. But before we get into that, I need to say something that I think is really beneficial to you. Okay, now there's loads of gurus out there, okay, that will promise you crazy winning percentages, all of this kind of stuff. Now, apart from that not being realistic, I'll just leave it at that for now. I don't want to get into too technical. Okay, if you think about it logically, okay, if you're a beginner, what is the likelihood of you just coming into something and just being great at it? If you're honest with yourself, the likelihood is not that high. Okay, maybe you're one of the outliers, you're an overachiever. Okay, but the everyday person like you and me, okay, aren't just going to enter something and just be great at it. Okay, so it's that simple. So what I need you to understand is losing is part of trading. Okay, now the difference between me and a lot of traders out there, teachers out there in the industry, is I take losing into account. Okay, now what I mean by that is I don't enter trading weeks, trading months, trading years, and I don't set my students up to not factor in losing. Okay, you have to factor in losing, because once you expect losing, it becomes easier and you know how to work around it to become successful. So look what he says. Okay, so when he posted this whole trade, you might have losing trades, I might have losing trades, it doesn't matter. The difference is, because we're taking these kind of trades that have a big profit potential, look what happens. Okay, so look what he says, a few losing trades. So there's likes on this particular post, okay, obviously from me and some of my other students. And look what I asked him, the first question I asked him. So I asked him, I said, so Kevin, so far this week, are you in profit or loss? Okay, because this is really important. And he says he overtraded. Okay, overtrading is one of the most detrimental situations you can put yourself in a trading situation. Look what he says. He overtraded, but he says, look what he says, a small loss. So he says he had 4 losing trades and 1 winner. Okay, so he's been right 20% of the time. Okay, out of 5 trades, he's been right once. Okay, but he's only at a small loss. Now this is interesting, because let me just give you some insights into me personally. When I used to trade and when I used to overtrade, you might have heard these stories before. There's been days when I've blown 50% of my trading account. There's been other days when I've blown 75% of my trading account, and I'm just literally mentally fatigued, exhausted, thinking, you know what, I'm done with trading. This is a situation where one of my students, because he's acquired my years of experience, okay, just for a minimal investment, ultimately, when you think about it, okay, if you think about, let me just give you this example. I had thousands of pounds in my trading account. Okay, so let's say, for example, I had $3,000 in my trading account, and I lose 50%. That's $1,500. Okay, excuse me, $10,000 in my trading account, 50%, that's $5,000. Okay, I've lost thousands of dollars in a single day. Okay, so in order for you to avoid that, in order for people like Kevin to come after me and learn and say, you know what, hold on, I can overtrade but still end up with just a minimal loss. Why? Because you're just one trade away, because you take the trades that I'm showing you and you get these results. That was the difference. I never took these kind of trades. Okay, I didn't know how to take these kind of trades, but now I obviously do. I can show my students to do this, and you can overtrade, as you can see here, and end up in just a small loss. Now think about this. He's a beginner. Okay, he's overtraded, but he's only resulted in a small minimal loss. Okay, so think about that. Imagine the weeks you trade extremely badly. Okay, I've told you some of my worst days, not even weeks. Okay, imagine if I could have a bad day, the worst kind of week, but still just walk away with a minimal loss. Okay, what kind of money do you think I'm going to make on a week where I'm just trading averagely or trading really, really good? Okay, a lot of profits, right? Exactly. Okay, so look what it says. So it says, which is really important, it says, all on a demo is all a learning curve. And I said, look, this is really insightful here. I said, even in the midst of turmoil, one winning trade, one trade away, changes everything. Okay, and I said, you've had a bad week and you're still just in a minimal loss. One more winning trade and you'll be well into profit. And look what he says right there. He says, just one trade away. Now you need to understand, okay, it only takes one trade. So think about this particular example here, and I don't care about talking about success and failures here, because it's all learning. It's all going to be growth for you. Okay, this is helping him understand that, you know what, I'm only just one trade away. I can trade badly. I can have 4 losing trades in a row and then just hit one winning trade. Okay, minimal risk, max reward like this, make an 8% return, and I just move back into a minimal loss. Okay, and on my next trade, I'm going to go way into profit. Okay, my next winning trade, it's just that simple. That's what you need to understand. Get your mindset into, I'm just one winning trade away. Okay, because once you start doing that, you'll start looking for those one great trades, which is not gambling. It's not, I'm hoping for this reward. You see these results. This is just one student, and this is a beginner. Okay, remember, 45-day window here on his pathway to profits. Okay, it's just that simple. So let's go to the next one. So let's look at live on screen again. You can see this, which is really important. So look what it says. Okay, so this is another trade he took, and he says, my thinking behind this trade was that there seemed to be resistance at a particular level. Now I don't need to get into all the technicals and all this stuff. Remember, he's a beginner, and this is, I want to say this as well, because he might be saying specific things. And I don't want you to get carried away and think, okay, oh, this is what he's doing. He's a beginner, so he doesn't understand certain things, and I guess he just associates certain things with certain buzzwords he might have heard, and he thinks what he thinks they are, but it's not actually that. Okay, that's why I'm not trying to get into the technical terms too much, because I don't want to confuse you or anything like that. I want you to understand exactly what's going on. So let's keep going. So look what he says here. Okay, he says his account stood at $10,000. And he set a particular order, a trade, okay, and he says he calculated it to be 500 pips, okay. Now he says his calculation may have been wrong, although his risk to reward seems to be reasonable. So based on his 90 pips stop loss on account balance of 10,000, he's basically walking through what he did. Okay, now he's talking about a spreadsheet. This is one of the tools that you can get from me as a student. Okay, so look what it says. I came back home for lunch today and noted that the trade was 1,400 in profit. Okay, so he realizes that he made a mistake and he miscalculated his pips. Okay, now look what he says. Beginner's error, but suppose that is why you use a demo account first. On the plus note, my account balance is up 14%. Now there's so much in this to unravel. Okay, firstly, let's say this. So first things first. He says his demo account stood at $10,000. Now, one of the things I teach my students is, and this is a trap I fell into. So when I first started trading, I opened a demo account, and the demo account I opened had a starting balance of 100, I think it was 100 million or 100,000, something crazy. Okay. And because of that, ultimately, I guess maybe that just psychologically put me in the mindset of, you know what, this is just a game. I started treating it as a game, started just doing crazy trading, all this kind of stuff. And after about 2 to 3 days, I said, you know what, I'm ready, went into a live account and started losing money. From that experience, I realized, you know what, The easiest way to transition from a demo to a live account is to just literally do what you're going to be doing on a demo, what you're going to be doing on a live account in your demo account. Okay. So when I basically kind of just restarted this whole thing and I started teaching my students, I said, you know what? This is the mistake I made. I just basically ran them through the story I just told you about, just literally messing around on a demo account for 3 days. And I say to them now as well, I say, you know what? When you open a demo account, for those of you who are going to start on a demo, only trade with the amount, you aim to start with on a live account. So for example, when he gets to a live account, he said he wants to start with £10,000. So what does he do? He trades within the parameters of a 10,000 account. Okay. His account will have more because brokers like to give you loads of money in a broker account. Okay. But all of my students that listen to me, they focus on this and say, you know what? I'm just going to focus on how much I'm going to actually have in my live account. Why? So when we transition into a live account, it's just exactly the same thing. We're not now coming down to smaller lot sizes and smaller trading account. We're using the same numbers. Okay. So we have that consistency. It's simple like that. Okay. It's imagine going from middle school or preschool, all that kind of stuff, and just going straight to college, okay, or straight to the workplace. It doesn't make sense, does it? Okay. You go up gradually, and that's what you need to do. You do that in trading to make the transition smoother. Okay. So that's number one. Okay. Treat your demo account the exact same way you're going to be doing with your live account. What else do you have here? Okay. What did he say? He says he used an order. Okay. Now I've already talked about how, okay, through his own personal testimonial, okay, in his post here, that he's doing this in and around working a job, and he works a 60-hour-a-week job. Okay. So that's just proving the pudding that it can work. But what did he say? He talked about a specific tool we call an order. Now I don't want to get into an order, but an order is typically like, I kind of liken it to having a specific tool that can clock you in and out of work even though you're not there. So imagine if you could have someone clock you in for work even if you're not there, and it's legal, okay, and you can still rack up the hours of work. Well, an order is something that opens trades for you automatically. You tell it where to open it and it can run into profit and close out, okay, even if you're not there. Okay, so he's used one of those tools, which is great, and we can talk about it later. Okay, the second thing he talks about, okay, he says he came back home from lunch. Okay, he came home for lunch basically, and he realized he's up 1,400, okay, which ultimately, based on a 10,000 account, is 14% return. So this is just one trade, okay, one day, 14% return, 1,400 profit. Okay, the only thing that would transform your life if you can make $1,400 in just one day, you probably wouldn't have to work the rest of the week. Okay, think about it. You make $1,400 one day, week is done. Okay, next week do it again. Now you're up to 2,800. Do it for the next 2 weeks. You made $5,600 ultimately. Okay, what you need to start thinking about how different Forex is to actually getting into Forex success. So let's keep going and let's basically look at the next thing. As you can see here, look what he says here. He says trade one of the week. Okay, and it says it was a win. Okay, so you bought here, and he basically goes into the numbers. This was his entry, his stop loss. This was his target. Okay, so he's risking 11 pips for 45 pips. Okay, so 2% risk for 8% reward, as you can see here. That's 4-to-1 risk to reward. Okay, really good trade. And if you haven't noticed by now, if you haven't heard me say this, or you don't know my philosophy on returns, all of my students, I teach them, look, go for at least 3-to-1 risk to reward. Okay, you want to start looking for these trades with huge, humongous profit. Okay, but within reason. That's the difference. Okay, so he says he highlighted this area in his analysis last night. Okay. And he says he woke up this morning, price to drop lower. Then he says he took action and the trade took approximately 6 hours to close out. And he says his balance is up by £500. That's about $750. Now, this one post here is quite self-explanatory. But one of the things I want to talk about and say is, what did he say? He says this trade took 6 hours to close out. Okay, so think about this. Okay, most people work 9 to 5. Okay, that's the average, 9 to 5, 8 hours worth of work. How much do you make? Answer this question. How much do you make just in a normal 9 to 5 window? $100, maybe The average, someone above average might make $200 in 8 hours, maybe. But the likelihood is most people aren't making that much. $100 a day, okay, maybe a bit more. In 6 hours, while he's not even there, his balance went up 500. Okay, £500, about $750 in one day. Okay, from one trade. This is why you need to start taking stuff like Forex seriously. This is why you need to learn from someone who knows how to make profits, because this is what is in store for you. Okay, this is all, like I said, this is a 45-day window. This isn't over 2 years. This is someone who just, okay, I'm going to take action now, straight away. Okay, these are my first 2 winning trades this week, and we're just continuing to go through all of these different posts. Okay, and we'll hit a crescendo at a certain point, and this is really important. Okay, so this is what you need to understand. This is how quickly, okay, you can get results. It's just that simple. Imagine 45 days from now, you're in a position where you can make these kind of returns. You're opening up a live account. You've got $10,000. You've got $5,000. It doesn't matter how much. You've got $1,000. It doesn't matter how much is in the trading account, but you can start making these kind of returns. Let's look at the next one here. Look what he says. He says he took this buy position on the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Now, I haven't said this already, but he's posting different currencies all the time, and I want to highlight that because you need to understand. Once you know how to do this, this works on any currency. Okay, any time frame, any currency, any commodity, anything. Okay, if you've got a chart to look at, you can do this. Look what it says. This morning, talks about his entry, stop loss, 21 pips, stop loss for an 82%, 82 pip return. So it's literally 4-to-1 risk to reward. Notice that the common theme here is always going to be 3-to-1 or more. So he says 7.8% reward, and he says his demo account balance is improving. Okay, so one trade, 1 day, 8% return. It's just simple. Okay, let's move on to another one. So we see here another different currency here. He says he went short. Okay, long, short, buy, sell, it doesn't matter. Okay, any direction you can make money. It's just that simple. So he sold here on the euro yen at 7:29 p.m. Another thing, it works in the morning, as you've seen from his own testimonials. You've seen he's come in the afternoon to see profits, and he's showing you here again another one of a trade that's happening in the evening. Okay, morning, afternoon, evening, overnight, it does not matter. Okay, there's always an opportunity. The market is 24 hours. Okay, so if you're thinking, you know what, this all sounds good, but this ain't gonna work for me because I work and I don't have no time, you can just see here, if just with one person, okay, he's doing it any different time of the day. Okay, so look what he says. Talks about his entry, his stop loss 9 pips, and his take profit, which is 40 pips. Okay, so he says it himself roughly here. You can see 4-to-1 risk to reward. Okay, so potentially you risk 100, you make 400. You risk 1,000, you make 4,000. You risk 10, you make 40. And the reason I said that last one, because you need to understand. Okay, when I first started trading myself, I wasn't making hundreds of dollars, thousands, anything like I can do now. Okay, what I was making was $30, $40, $50. And do you know what that did for me? That allowed me to take my now wife Emma, okay, out on dates, okay, just spend time with her, okay, and all that kind of stuff, okay. And that stopped me from working a part-time job, where everyone around me, even including my now wife Emma, she was working a part-time job. I didn't have to work a part-time job because I was trading and making $30, $40 here and there, and just living the life ultimately. Okay, that was early stages in the life. Different now, where I can make thousands of dollars in one day, and that's it. It's that simple. Okay, so understand that. So look what he says. Price rose. It nearly stopped him out. Okay, but it didn't. Okay, so he says it went near his target, but then he closed. It didn't close him out. And this is another vital lesson, because you have traders out there, they'll see price going against them and they'll start to get scared and they'll say, you know what, I don't want to take part in this anymore, I'm leaving. And this is what you need to realize. Okay, sometimes price goes all the way close to your target and then just turns around. You have to be bold. You have to be fearless to a certain degree. Okay, I just call it smart fear. Okay, be smart with what you're doing. Don't just go into these things reckless. Look what it says. It says it ultimately closed out for a 17 pip profit. Why? Because the weekend was coming, okay, and I always advise my students, if you're trading intraday, okay, so you pretty much intraday pretty much means like if you're trading every sort of day, okay, I don't want you to leave your trades open over the weekend. So he closed it out, okay. So he says this will be a 3.7% return, $400 profit, okay. So $400 profit, even he didn't even get the full return on this trade. So imagine if he actually got the full return on his trade, what kind of return you'd actually made, okay, when he closes this out. Let's move on again. Now, this is a really interesting one because there's two more things I want to cover. This one and one more, but these are where things start to get really exciting now, okay? Because I said this is over a 45-day window, and we're starting to get to the end of the window, which I think is really interesting because it's going to show you what's possible. Okay, so you can see here, and notice the words he uses and his mindset. Okay, so look what he says. As you can see here on screen, it says, "I've definitely got lucky with news." He says he knows he should not really be trading two trades with the same currency. He says, however, he's took a sell position on the USD JPY, again, different currency. And he says this was in the morning. This is the entry. This is stop loss. This is take profit. Okay, so 5.3, 5 to 1 risk to reward, making 5 times what I'm risking. Okay, surprise, surprise. And he says he's up 1.1k for the week. Okay. And he says he's up around 10%. And look what he says here, which is really key. Okay, he says he's had 13 trades this week. Okay, how many winners? Just 4 winners. Okay, so that means 4 winners and 9 losers. He's more than doubled the amount of losses, losing trades he's had. But look what he says, he's up 1k. Okay, imagine that. You lose 9 trades out of 13, and you still end the week up £1,000. Okay. And look what he says. Maybe more luck than judgment, okay, and that's how he's rationalized it. But look what it says. But money management is key, okay. Look what he says. You do not have to trade perfectly to make profits, and this is what I'm trying to get you to understand, okay. This whole philosophy of just one trade away, it's a philosophy of you don't even need to be great to make this work. You just need to take the right winning trades, and this will become successful to you. Look what I said here down here. You can say I said news helps and news hurts. But when it hurts, it's only a 2% loss. But when it helps you, it's a 6% plus return. Okay, so if fundamental news comes out and hits the market and it affects your trade, the only thing you're going to lose typically is 2%. But if news comes out and it's in favor in regards to your trade, you're going to make 6+% because those are the kind of trades you're taking. And I told him to wrap it up, you're just one trade away. Okay. So risk to reward, money management is what's really vital to you, because once you start taking these trades with big profit potential, this is what's possible. You can take 13 trades in a week, which I still think is a lot. Lose 9 of them, only win 4, and still end the week up 10%, up over £1,000. Okay. So let's wrap up this training with the crescendo. Okay, now this is 45 days. Now this isn't the end. Okay, but look what it says as we go through it. Okay, and I need you to understand what can be possible for you in the next 45 days or less. Okay, now this isn't a guarantee, but this is what can be possible. So this is the last post out of the collection of posts I wanted to highlight here. Okay, just to kind of get you to see what's kind of possible. So look what it says. He says he's still in the experimental phase, and he knows that he's overtrading, but he just wants to get as much experience as possible. He talks about this buy position on the euro, and it was around 3.5 to 1 risk to reward. And he says he made £500 on this particular trade. Okay. Now look, it says from 12 trades this week. So he says again another week, 3 winning trades, 9 losers. Okay, and he says not bad for a 25% success rate. And he says, thanks for your help over the last couple of weeks. Just highlighting it, okay? Okay, this is only a span of a couple of weeks here, okay? He says, he thanks one of my students, Isvan. And he says, this is the key part here, okay? Highlight this. He says, deadlines on handing in the notice are set, okay? So, based on just this 30 to 45 day window, he says, I've now set a deadline on handing in notice. And he says, so I am working hard throughout the rest of 2017 to get as good as you guys. And I just put down here, notice is a good goal. You're just one trade away. Now think about this. Imagine if you could go from where you are now to planned notice in the next 45 days. So in 45 days from now, you know, okay, you know what? This is the day in particular in the future, just a month or two away, a couple of months away, where I'm going to say, you know what? This is the end. I'm giving notice. Okay. In 45 days. Okay. Imagine what the next 45 days are going to be like for Kevin. Imagine the 45 days after that. Imagine when he literally hands in notice and he's trading full time, making these kind of returns. You can see whether he trades great, whether he trades average, whether he trades badly, he's still in a position every single week to make profits. And I wrapped up the last two talking about how he made £1,000 profit, which is about $1,500 in 1 week. And the other one was the last one we saw here, which was making a £500 profit in the week, which is about $750 in 1 week, trading 25% accuracy, only winning 3 trades out of 12. Okay. Now this is just one student. And again, I said, at the top of this training today, this isn't even the best, quickest story. You might have heard of one of my students, Arnell. His transformation was about 5 weeks, and he got to a point where he was literally making, as he says in his own words, he's made more in 1 day than he did in his last paycheck in his job, in his previous job. And he's basically set up, he's basically ready to travel. He's traveling around basically the world just to because he's an explorer, he says. Okay. So 45 days is what you saw here today with Kevin in issue 102. That wraps up today's training for issue 102 of VU University. And I want to implore you today, if what I've talked about today has resonated with you, if you like the risk to reward, if you can see here that I don't risk a lot of money, I don't teach my students to risk a lot of money, and you can see that this can be beneficial for you, I want to basically encourage you to really consider taking the same program that Kevin's taken, the same program that I talked about a minute ago with Arnell. Arnell's taken. Okay, all of my best students take the same pretty much program. Okay, it's my all-in-one Forex course, or it's also known as the Fast Track Forex Blueprint program. This is where I aim to transform your lifestyle through Forex trading. Okay, so wherever you are starting, I want to get you further and further into the journey. The ultimate goal is to get you consistently profitable, but you can only do that if you start today with me, learning the basics, learning stuff like what Kevin started to learn, and literally taking it from there. But if you don't take action, it's never going to work for you. Okay, so there's going to be a link literally pop up on the screen right now. Okay, I want you to go to that link right now, type it into a web browser. That's going to take you to a secure form page where you can literally make a one-time investment into my Forex program, the same program that Kevin's taken to get these kind of results in this 45-day window. And the same kind of results I want to promote to other people about you, hopefully, in the next 30, 45, 90 days, whatever it is, going forward. Okay, because ultimately, this is why I get into Forex, why I got into it. Ultimately, first and foremost, it was for me to live a lifestyle where I can do what I want. Okay, spend loads of time with my wife and my kids, which I've been able to do for years. And ultimately after that was getting people to enjoy the same kind of lifestyle I do. Okay, so I'm not necessarily an explorer like Arnell, but I've given Arnell the capabilities, the opportunity, the power to make money so he can go and live his dream lifestyle. I want to give you your dream lifestyle. Your dream lifestyle might be different to me, might be different to Arnell. It might be a blend. It might be just something completely drastically different. But ultimately, I need you to make an investment in yourself today. Okay, so it's that simple. So the link's been on screen since I talked about it a moment ago. Click this link on screen right now, make your investment, and I'll see you on the inside in the private community. And hopefully I can start helping you make these same kind of transitions in your own lifestyle going forward. Thanks and take care.